And we're here with Lewis Men's Volleyball for their National Media Day, and we're joined by Dan Friend and a few of his players. So let's start with Dan. You have let's give us an opening statement on this off season and outlook for 2021.
Yeah, Jonathan, thanks for having us. Certainly always a pleasure to do stuff with Off the Block. And we've got four guys with us. Kevin Culling, our setter, All-American last year. Ryan Kuhn, four-time All-American Player of the Year. Tyler Mitchum, All-American. And TJ Murray, All-American. So four great guys to kind of be on this call with us. And certainly we're excited to be here and looking forward to hopefully playing some volleyball. Do you know what I mean? We've got a great group of young men, and I'm excited about it.
Let's start with Kevin. You are a second-year player. I'm not sure what to call you, of a sophomore or a second-year freshman, but you're in your second year. What is the biggest difference between your first off-season coming into the program and the off-season after some experience under your belt?
Yeah, so half COVID year, whatever you call it. Coming in freshman year, obviously, doing stuff with USA helped, but and then coming to our program, a bunch of older upperclassmen teammates, that really helped. But coming into this year, had a feel for it early on, but obviously didn't get to do postseason. But other than that, it gave me a nice taste, and it was nice to get an early start and have familiar faces back for the next year. So, yeah.
And Ryan, you're a four-time All-American. You have the chance to be the sports and maybe college NCAA sports. The sports first five-time All-American. Does that cross your mind at all?
Not my own mind. No, I've had people bring it up to me, but I don't like to think like that. I'm here to win a championship and then go on to hopefully, if everything goes well this year, make it to the NCAA tournament if you're and yeah, I'd like to play well myself, but the team comes first, and we'll just make some noise this year.
Okay, and Tyler, what are the expectations for the program? It's kind of hard to have expectations, I guess, for a season that is in such flux. But what are your expectations, Tyler?
Could you repeat the question?
Oh, sure. Sorry, I realize the season is such in flux right now, and but what are the expectations for the season as it pertains to the Lewis Men's Volleyball program?
Like you said, we're here to win a mini championship, get back to the NCAA. At the same time, we utilize the adversity that could be at us, making sure that we're well enough to combat that, make with what we have, and make some and end up in a great spot.
So what do you feel has been the biggest challenge for you guys this offseason training during a COVID pandemic?
TJ, go ahead. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things has been kind of getting everyone together at the same time. We all put in a lot of work outside, especially during the COVID time when, we got shut down right away and, bringing on new guys and the new freshman class and all that. So just trying to build that cohesiveness through the team is definitely one of the things that's, I think, all the teams are going through, trying to put all the pieces together and get ready right away. We're just trying to be ready for, one match at a time, and hopefully we can put the full season together. So that's what we're looking for.
And then you look at the season as a whole right now in the MIVA preseason poll, you guys are the unanimous or close to unanimous favorite. How do you feel taking on those expectations that you guys are the team to beat this year? Do you guys embrace that? Do you talk about that? How do you deal with that?
Well, we definitely embrace it. We have the mantra of kind of, no matter who's
no matter who's ahead of us, as far as like kind of like TJ touched on, one match at a time. We treat all opponents the same. Doesn't matter if we're MIVA preseason favorite or if we're MIVA preseason and we're in last place. We have the same kind of the same mentality going into each and every game. It's going to be difficult this year without fans. We're going to have to kind of create our own energy. We're going to have to play every game the same, no matter who the opponent is on the other side of the net. So we look forward to that grinding aspect, kind of coming together as a team and getting each other hyped up. And yeah, we always know we kind of have that target on our back. So we're ready to play every game the same.
Well, talking about your guys' schedule, Lewis, historically, you guys are known for being willing to travel, play anywhere, play anyone, anytime. This season, you're not going to be able to do that, obviously, to start off the season. And you're still playing some good quality opponents in non-conference play. Don't want to slight any of them, obviously. But just from your standpoint, how tough is that going to be? Is that going to be tough for you guys, getting ready for the conference season, not having matches against, the top 5 teams in the country?
Let me jump in, Vinny, on that. I think it is kind of tough, but at the same time, if you ask any of these guys, I think it's been so long since we played real volleyball, we just don't care. We just want to play. You know what I mean? And certainly everybody's faced with those challenges of getting those elite level matches. But I think the nice thing about our conference this year, as well as a couple of our non-conference opponents, is conference is going to be a grind. A lot of seniors came back for their COVID year, which makes every team better. There's a couple transfers into a few programs, which makes them even better. And so, embracing our conference is how tough it's going to be. Will certainly be challenging. And I think, you'll see all the teams be in some different spots in February. And if they're able to continue playing games, it'll be a much different volleyball, I think, by the time you get to late March and early April.
Well, going off your conference schedule, and I'll open this up to Coach Friend or any of the players, one of the big differences this year is you're going to be playing back-to-back nights against the same team. So, typically in a week, you guys are having to scout 2 teams or prepare. Is it any easier in terms of preparations for you guys, just knowing that you have to prepare for 1 team as opposed to 2? Or are there other challenges with in-series adjustments that you're going to have to make?
I'll jump in first, and I'll let one of the guys. I think maybe from a scouting perspective, it could be a little bit easier. But I think it's like you go to win night 1, whether you're the team that upsets or you're the favorite team that wins, and then recreating that the second night can get really difficult. And I think, and it'll be a different space for us because every time we ever did that was Grand Canyon. Where if you look at a Hawaii or, a couple other schools that have done that in the past where they played 2 matches, it's just a little bit different space for us. And so, but anybody else want to add to?
That's what I was
No,
saying.
I stole everything. Yeah. Sorry, baby. Yeah.
Well, Coach, I'll bring you back in here because I want to get your thoughts on this, especially someone who's been involved with USA Volleyball. You have a lot of talent in the Zoom call right now that we see. And just get your perspectives. Do you think that some of these players that we're seeing in the Zoom call, we eventually could be seeing one day, playing for Team USA in the Olympics?
I think any of these guys have the ability to play that level internationally and to help our national team. All of these guys are talented in their own way. And, it's pretty special to have them all 4 and, that are going to be able to play for us this coming year. So.
All right. And we'll throw it back to Jonathan now, who has a couple questions.
Because Vinny loves fun questions. I'll ask Dan a lighthearted question. You have a very healthy beard going on, and so does Vinny. So I must ask you, how scruffy did your beard get during the height of the pandemic?
Maybe why don't you ask these guys? Was it scruffy?
That's pretty short right now.
Yeah, it's pretty short. So it was probably twice as long at some point. You know what I mean in terms of that. So yeah. So always gonna have a good beard trimmed up when we start season, though. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. And then another question for you, Dan. You have a new assistant on your coaching staff. Can you tell us about him?
Yeah, so Galen Dodd finished up his master's. Galen was awesome. Really helped us get better, and I think he's trying to get his hands back into coaching. Certainly, COVID played havoc on that. But yeah, we hired Jacob Kirshner. So he was a 5th-year player or 5-year player for us, and just Jacob's awesome. So Jacob is a grinder. He was a grinder when he played for us. He's a grinder as a coach now. He's already got a good camaraderie with all these guys because he's been around them. They take to what he has to say well because he's played multiple positions for us, and so couldn't be thrilled to fill a void that we lost with another great talent.
And then speaking of Galen, he told me about Keith. He called Keith a kind of an energizer bunny. He just brings a lot of energy to your program. Can you talk a little bit more about the other or one of your other assistants?
Yeah, so Ivor, he's awesome. So Ivor's a retired school teacher, coached with his wife in high school for a long, long time. Still plays volleyball, active now, and he's in his 60s. Ives great. He's a hype man in practice. He gets fired up for the guys. He just loves being around the game. And I think when we first hired him, he's like, "What am I going to bring to the table? I don't have the knowledge that you guys have or any of those other things." And it was a lot about Ives' life experiences of being around the game and his pure love and joy for it. And I think after a year or two of him being around, he really kind of saw what we needed from him. It's not just about, hey, bump, set, spike, but it's all the other tools that he can give the guys and allow them to learn from him and get better at the same time. So it's really, really nice to have him as a volunteer coach for us.
Yeah, I'll open this up to the players. You look at how last season ended. You guys were absolutely clicking, and then COVID hit. This season, you're right back in the top 5. Is the expectation for you guys national championship this year?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Always.
Yeah. So with that being said, just to build off that, then for you guys, what are some of the things that you're going to have to do on the court this season or in training to play at that national championship level?
So, I mean, the biggest thing for us is like we talked about a little bit earlier about it's one game at a time. And although like that's in the back of our heads, national championship, but I mean, we first have to we have to play conference, we have to play non-conference, then we have to play conference, and then we have to play postseason, and then get to the NCAA tournament. So, I mean, we like to look at it one day at a time, one practice at a time. Like obviously with COVID, you never know when it might stop everything. So, I mean, our big mindset is be hungry, but also one day at a time.
And I think from a training perspective, it's kind of with the lack of training our freshman group has had. It's kind of getting everyone on the same page, making sure these guys are getting good touches in the gym and getting really good at the little details. We know when the game speeds up and we make big plays kind of without thinking about it. But if we continue to train technique and we get really good at the little touches in practice on a daily basis, then I think that's going to help us, like Kevin said, go day by day and win match by match. So
I think that it has to do a lot with, besides what they said, it's like all the little things like with COVID. Some things may fall through the cracks that would have not fell through the cracks if COVID had not happened. So I say as long as we're keeping up with the bodies and the small things that we used to do as a team and our team culture, I feel like we can carry ourselves to that goal.
Yeah, and I think one of the real big things is there's no fans this year, and so it even highlights more this year the idea of how important using each other for energy is, and kind of controlling the energy in the gym and what that looks like. And we do a really good job of that in practice right now. Is trying to take control of the energy, building off it, and using each other to kind of reach another level.
Well, with that being said, there's no fans, so the bench may play an even bigger role in creating some of that hype. So who is the guy that we could expect this season to be the over-the-top hype guy on the Lewis bench this year?
Joe Kensinger.
What is he a loud screamer? What does he wind up doing to bring the hype?
He brings a lot. He brings a lot to practice. He brings a lot to the games. Joe's a senior, but he's got 2 more years left with the pandemic and everything kind of going on. But he's a hard worker, man. He does a lot for this team, and he will do whatever it takes. He understands the role this year, and he'll bring that team to another level, especially without fans and like we talked about earlier, that cohesiveness. So he'll be a key part.
Yeah. A couple more questions before we wrap up. Ryan, I want to ask you, because you're in some regards now the older statesman on the team, and you have a lot of freshmen. Kind of just the growth as a person from 18 to 22 is a lot. So Has there been any knowledge, not even just volleyball knowledge, but life knowledge that you've been able to impart in some of the freshmen?
Yeah, I think I'll start with volleyball. Just from being in the gym so long, a lot the time you spend with the coaching staff and previous captains and previous players, it's invaluable. And you learn a lot of things, whether you want to or not. You just kind of get used to the system. You got to get used to how things work. So I'm just trying to give some of that knowledge. I offer a lot to the freshmen, and I know sometimes they don't pick it all up. So I give a lot, and then they can kind of retain what they want to retain, and they can pick the pieces that work for them. But just how things work in the gym, how the speed of things, and then it goes as far as class and hanging out and making sure you're getting close with your teammates, making sure you're hanging out with the rest of the freshman class. That's what Lewis is all about. We build that culture, and we love being around each other on and off the court. And that's why when we're playing on the court and we're having fun, that's when we play our highest level of volleyball. So just trying to give them bits and pieces here and there, and they can take what they want. And, I know we're going to get better as a group.
Another thing I'll say about Kunin and some of the older guys like Ty and TJ, a big thing is just their presence. Like, as like a younger player, I noticed right away last year that there's a standard. Like he said, that showing the freshmen what to do and how to act is really nice because it doesn't always have to be from a coach's mouth. And so when they have a standard, it just shows that we have a certain print on how we want to play and how this program runs and how it's ran forever. So that's just a huge thing for these guys being around for another year because the presence is just there again.
So I know I have 2 more questions. I'll do one, then I'll flip back to Jonathan. So Tyler, I want to ask you, offensively, you've emerged as one of the top offensive middles in the country. So I want to ask you, what do you feel you have done the last year or two that has really elevated your game offensively?
Offensively, well, I've been working on my jump serve a ton. Me and coach have been playing around with it and making sure, or just figuring out what my natural groove is. I feel like that opened up my vision a lot more. Probably also blocking technique, like learning how high level players block, and I can translate that into what I can do as an attacker. I feel like that's another big piece of my game that has elevated. And me and Kevin also have been working on different routes, like more slides and one-footed techniques over the break when we were in winter break. So we're excited to see what that can bring this season.
Awesome. We'll now flip it on over to Jonathan, who I think has a few more questions before we wrap on it up.
Dan, a couple questions for you. First, can you give us an update on the Ray Strong Foundation?
Oh yeah, well, ultimately we were happy with kind of how the year went, considering we weren't able to do much. Still think we raised about $15,000, and we were able to give away about 11 or 12 back to some hospitals and NICUs and help a couple families last year. So that was really great. Jake Walinga, who graduated in 19, actually does all our website stuff for it's raystrong.org. So he created a whole new website this summer for us, and we've got some new content in there. And, so we've been happy that we've continued to grow even at small steps and help out the community in the Illinois, Chicagoland area. And so that's been really good. But thanks for asking on that.
Yep. And then another fundraising bit of news, the Lewis men's volleyball program announced in October a endowment push. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so with some help from First Point Volleyball, Wade Gerard and John Sprouse thing, they were starting to put some materials together to help programs kind of fundraise, especially in lieu of what was going on at Stanford. And so I took a few of those things, and I don't do well with downtime. I like to be busy, and so we started to put the pieces together for an endowment for the program, and got approved through the channels we needed to at Lewis, and a lot of support there. And then we put a committee of about 12 alumni and supporters of the program together. And then we started kind of contacting alumni and friends of the program. And over the course of 5 months, we've been able to raise about $150,000 with over 200 donors. And the goal is $500,000 in 5 years, but I'm really excited about, getting it off the ground this first 5 months. And the great thing is even all of our current members are a part of it already. You know, we talked about the foster giving and what that means, and even if it's $10 or $15 right now, and maybe they're able to do later down the road, but I think it's important to get all those guys involved and teach that. But it's been a great thing, and certainly a piece that's probably needed in this time and age with college athletics, and the administrators see that we're trying to support the program. So.
And final question, we'll end it on this. You look at Lewis, historically, you guys have been known for your freshman races. You guys post them online. Who's the freshman to watch this year? Who's going to be the fastest?
Oh, it's got to be Keaton. Yeah. Keaton Long, our Texas guy. Yeah, he's pretty quick.
Yeah.
We might make him,
But I'm assuming all four of you would annihilate him if you guys did the race.
Can you say that again?
Oh, I'm assuming, though, if you guys raced him, you guys would annihilate him.
Obliterate.
None of them. They're all too old. There's no way.
I need some your guys.
Vinny, I need a walker, man.